Arms Race has seemingly been a smash hit in the Borderlands community, giving players a brand new element of endgame grind as they traverse the dangerous Stormblind complex. And in my review of Arms Race, I pretty much had zero complaints about the mode, much like the rest of my reviews when it comes to Borderlands 3 DLC. And while I did receive Arms Race early thanks to 2K and Gearbox, my review wasn't influenced by them one bit. However, since filming that review, I found some things with Arms Race which rubbed me the wrong way and marred my overall experience, so I want to use this video as a way of respectfully voicing my opinions and sharing my thoughts on the flaws and how they can be improved upon. So I want to make it very clear before we proceed that this is not a bash piece on Arms Race. If you're coming to this video for the sole reason of using the comment section to scream "Screw Gearbox, I hate Borderlands," then please click off. So I want to start with my biggest gripe about the mode, something I unfortunately did not know about when I filmed my review. For those of you unaware, the Arms Race loot caches actually have dedicated loot drops for each cache, and this map here, made by Joltz and K6, whom of which I'll leave links to their channels in the description, shows exactly what I'm talking about. Each individual cache will pretty much only drop the pieces of gear shown on the map. Now, when I first found out about this, I thought, like many others, cool, this will solve the issue of farming items being a painful experience and make the mode a lot more bearable for farmers. So I farmed and farmed until I had everything I needed from almost a third of the map. The rest of the items I had no care for, so I just stopped playing. And then I thought one day I'll hop in and record a video to see how many of X item I can get from the caches in one run, because after all, some of my most fun runs have been where I've scored upwards of 12 red chests. But then I quickly realized that if the chests are all dedicated, then what's the point in playing the mode the way I want to if I'm basically being forced to certain areas of the map unless I want to get a piece of loot that I really don't want. This results in the map going from something like this to something like this. And whilst this may be entirely subjective, I do believe that this, as shown on the map, cuts the replayability factor of Arms Race almost entirely in half. So my idea was to add a switch just before you start Arms Race, or similarly a menu in your Echo where you can choose to either A, have dedicated chest drops to make farming easier, or B, make all drops randomized for players who want their loot to maintain the element of surprise whenever they open a chest over at a loot cache. This, in my opinion, would result in a more diverse playstyle for the community, because once you've opened the chest you want within the mode, you really have no reason to continue your run unless you get the gun you needed. And I just can't help but feel as though that's a really bad thing for the mode, especially for content creators. Now, since we're here, I thought I'd take the time to build upon some of the complaints I've seen about the mode since launch. The first one I want to approach is the biggest one by far, and that's the lack of skills within Arms Race. And the biggest factor that I always see brought up with this one is that, quite frankly, without skills every Vault Hunter feels the same, and people want their choice of Vault Hunter to matter when they drop in. But I'll be honest, allowing players to keep their full skill tree when they drop in is a really bad idea, because it would quickly make the mode way too easy considering just how many god tier builds exist on YouTube. However, I do agree that without your action skills, stuff like Vault Hunter choice and weapon anoints never mean anything, so I had an idea on how to meet in the middle on this suggestion without breaking the mode due to all of the god tier builds. This idea would be to reward skill points in weapon caches, supply drops, and per revenant kill. I think this would be great, as your choice of skill dispersal would be crucial in order to survive. Another suggestion that's always brought up when we talk about Arms Race is, of course, how powerful TDR weapons are and how players really don't want them to be so meta in the mode. I think this is simply addressed just by buffing everything up to the TDR power, or maybe just dropping TDRs down a little bit. Now, there is one more suggestion I have for Arms Race in the future, so I thought why not share it in this video. Of course, by now we've all heard about the suggestions for new maps, new guns, and new enemies, but the idea I want to bring up here is actually to add limited timed modes to Arms Race on a weekly rotation playlist, which is totally optional for players to take part in. For example, one week could be Revenant Chaos, an event where all Revenant spawns are doubled, but additionally all Revenants have double the drop rates for new new legendaries, or a completely different suggestion where supply drop spawns are doubled in the murder cane, but they have a guaranteed chance to spawn red chests, and additionally they also reward double skill points. And while we're at it, we can go even further. You could add an event where killing enemies in the murder cane has a chance to reward skill points. There are so many possibilities with this idea which tie into the others I brought up, which can only further the replayability of this mode, and I'm really excited to see what Gearbox does in the future. Anyway guys, that's gonna do it for this video. This was just a quick little heads up to voice some of the concerns I had on the mode, which I didn't have or know about at release when I made my review. In conclusion though, I still believe this is a really fun mode, and yes, I do believe that Designer's Cut is worth the money. However, I would say that getting Season Pass 2 is the best choice depending on how much you like BO3. But with all that being said, thanks for listening and have a nice day.